I want to ask you one thing.
Only one.
Only one at the beginning. You had a very interesting video a few days ago about your travel gear.
Yes.
And I was wondering that how did you find it? Because we're going to talk about the simplicity of the gear and how a simple minimal gear will help your photography. Did you? Yes, exactly. Did you find it awkward, or did you find it that you're working when you're testing lenses? Or how did you feel about that?
Whenever I went out, I only took one camera and one lens.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, yes.
Because the trip was 6 months long, and I was kind of working because I was making my videos on YouTube here on my channel, link down below.
Yes.
And
It
also,
will be, don't worry.
I received some lenses for testing, and today it's my work. And I didn't carry all that gear with me all the time.
In that sense, you kind of, when you went out and photograph, you were like I'm at home, I got several cameras, I only pick one.
Yeah.
Which is usually this one nowadays. But anyway, so it's kind of, yeah.
Because it was such a long trip, I wanted to have a variety of gear to talk about in my videos,
course,
and also to shoot, to pick maybe a different camera on a different day and so on. So, yeah, we have a nice beep in the background.
Yes, we do. Let's show them what it is. It's over there. There's a construction going on over there. But should we continue with the more questions?
Yes.
Well, you said that you carried only one camera when you went out shooting, actually.
Yes.
How do you feel that it makes your creativity better when you kind of narrow down your equipment when you go out for a walk?
Absolutely. I'm a big one camera, one lens proponent, and I totally think it improves my creativity, it improves my keeper rate, it improves everything in my photography, because I don't have to worry about what lens to use, what camera to use, and I don't have to change lenses or anything. I just pick the camera that I have and shoot what I shoot. Also, if I have today, I have the GR3X with me. I'm looking for pictures that are suitable for this camera, and I don't feel that I miss out on anything or I miss shots because I only have one camera, one lens.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And when I got this about 6 months ago, and I've said it a couple of times in my videos, that it actually has improved my photography in a way that I can concentrate more on the actual photograph.
But you know what? Your photography was so easy to improve.
That's true. That could be it. That could be it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, it improved.
Yeah.
That's true. You said that you see only photographs that are possible with this. So do you feel that it will improve your technical skills when you narrow down? Or if you have a lot of gear, you learn more? Or how do you see that?
In my opinion, I learn more if I have a minimal gear setup with me, because it makes me concentrate more on what I can see and what I can achieve with my limited setup. And I think limitations are good for photography, because you never can capture everything, no matter what kind of a ultra super zoom you have. While you are shooting that way, there can be something happening behind you, and you can't possibly capture everything. And I think it's just also, of course, a personal opinion, but I think it makes sense to concentrate on something and try to do that well.
That's true. That's yes. And when you see something, as you said, I would like to say that you see images which are possible. And then if you see something else, you also have to figure out how am I going to shoot that with this particular gear, which makes you probably a bit better when you don't have that many options. You have to kind of be creative and figure out things.
Yeah.
So what about storytelling, which is always important? And we had a video about storytelling last summer, I think we made. Does it make your images more, or are there more stories when you have less gear? You would think that you need different types of lenses to make it more interesting, or how do you see that?
Well, both are sort of true. I also think that it depends on what kind of a story you are trying to tell. But the fact is that if you use the same camera, the same lens, you get the same look in your every picture, which can be really good for your story, depending on what you shoot. probably if you are on an assignment, commercial assignment, you probably are better off with a little bit more lens variations of variety. But I think for personal projects, I think one camera, one lens can be very good, and because you get the same look, and it's so easy to shoot because you don't have to sort of worry about the gear. You just pick the only camera you have and shoot on that. But I'm sure someone out there is going to disagree, which is fine. These are just my opinions and my experience, what I have accumulated over the years.
Yeah, I agree on that.
I don't think more gear can sort of guarantee better results, but in some situations it can make a difference, especially like I said, if you're an assignment, commercial assignment. But for personal projects, I firmly believe that one camera, one lens is the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Masterpiece, decisive moment.
There's no decisive moment here, except that bike that's coming over there. But there's no decisive moment. But maybe I'll take, very minimalistic.
But that's the challenge. You're going to make it look like a decisive moment, even though there is no decisive moment.
There's nothing there in that regard.
Are you, by the way, using the snap focus feature?
Not right now.
All right.
I have set it to FN button so I can. So now it's 3.5 meters and now it's off.
All right.
I think that works for me quite well.
I almost never use that feature, even though in many videos I've said it can be useful.
Good. Yeah, yeah, but what I sometimes do is I use the back screen to decide, and now it's actually I have the shutter button also. So if I click it, will take the image.
Yeah.
Let's head out to the metro station.
Yes. Niin, että arvaisi paljon Melbourneissa on tarkastusmaksu julkisessa liikenteessä. Se on 80.
Se on 80 €. Mitähän se olisi? On se varmaan jotain satasia, voisin kuvitella.
Oliko se 283 Australian dollaria, eli siis jotain melkein 200 €.
Aika paha.
Ja mä kysyin sitä tarkastajalta, mulla oli lippu, mutta mä näin, siinä oli vaan tarkastajia pysäkillä. Sitten mä vaan kysyin, että ihan vaan uteliaisuudesta, mikä se on se tarkastusmaksu. Ja mä olin ihan, että ei jumalauta, että on se aika niinku kova hinta.
Se on aika törkeä. And I don't know if people recognized, but Matti was swearing in Finnish.
Perkele.
What about when you're moving about? Isn't kind of like one lens, one camera a lot easier? Like here in the subway where you might not want to carry very expensive gear.
It's definitely a big bonus to have especially have a GR3 or X3X with you. It's so nice and mobile, and you don't have to worry too much. And this camera particularly just doesn't look like it's any kind of a serious camera. It looks like a toy more or less.
Yeah, that's true. I agree on that because I don't want to scream expensive gear when going out, and even having a nice watercraft bag as you have.
Yes.
Yes. Which is also not sent to you like mine. I don't know if I can film like this. It's pretty awkward looking. Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing, especially if you're in places where you haven't been before and you don't really know what's going on.
Exactly.
Helsinki is safe, so I could probably get my studio gear in here and nobody would care.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Is a big camera a threat when you're in the streets photographing, or is there any difference? And by the way, that's the Sony A9 III that we borrowed from a local store just for this video.
I don't think it matters. It may matter in some situation, but based on my experience, for example, during my last trip in Southeast Asia, Australia, I don't think it made any difference whether I had my Sony or my GR or any other camera.
There's someone coming. Could you move a little bit so they can go?
So yeah, I don't think, I think the whole issue, there's a lot of talk about that, whether it matters or not. If you have a big camera or small camera, I think it's a little bit overblown or exaggerated. And yeah, there might be some situations where a big camera can be more intimidating or something, but I don't think in general it matters that much. What do you think?
Well, I agree on that because back in the day I was doing street photography with EOS 1 camera, which is
It's bigger than this.
probably way bigger than that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, nobody cared. It was more about me feeling that I'm more visible in the streets. I think it's inside here more than in an actual thing.
In my opinion, pick the camera that you're comfortable with and you like to use, and you are likely to get the best pictures on that camera. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's the camera that fits your need and hand the most is the best.
What was the top speed? 120 frames per second.
Yes, I don't know if it's full RAW. I don't know. I don't know anything about. Sony's better than I do. I have no idea about.
But it doesn't make any sound. It's weird.
Yeah.
Global shutter.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
No, so I can't. Is it taking pictures? I think it is.
So you've made some art.
Global shutter. I think that's the future. That's the way to go. But I don't think it matters to the average photographer that much in the end.
No. I think I had a video about global shutter, and there is. I think it too that it's the future, because why wouldn't it be?
Okay. It recognizes your face as a human being, so I think the Sony autofocus is pretty decent.
Well, does it tell that I am a human being? That's what it says. Does it if I bring this closer, what happens?
It's focusing on your eye.
Oh, okay. That's
you have to cover your whole face.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very sticky.
That's interesting.
I probably took like 275 pictures already.
Well, we can put them all on the video.
Yes.
Like 5 seconds each.
Yeah.
Get some watch time.
Yes.
So what do you think about that?
My very first impressions, the camera.
Yeah, because you've used Sony before, so would you be tempted to get one?
The grip is definitely better than on my camera.
Yeah.
My initial feelings are positive, but I don't really need this camera for what I do, what I shoot. But of course, I wouldn't mind if they gave this to me.
Well, I've signed it out, so don't. They don't. All right. So, what do you think? What is your opinion on this matter? Small gear or a lot of gear?
Asking me or the audience?
The audience this time. I know your opinion already. You haven't been watching the video.
No, not yet.
Do you know that you're in it? But what do you think? Tell us in the comments down below, and I'll put a link to the Matti's video about the excessive gear that he had with him on his trip.
That was
I think it was a good video and a good kind of like thinking about it. But there is a link in the description, and it's actually over there. You can see it over there. Yeah, somewhere over there. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Thanks guys, bye bye, until next time.